Following on from my previous video about the so-called gods creating us humans, well, we've obviously know that they're the Anunnaki. And here in the flood story, it talks about Enlil, Enki and Ninharshag fashioned the black-headed people. Watch my previous video if you don't know what they are. They also made animals multiply. Now, they could have been genetically created, just like us humans, or they could have been bred to multiply. But the flood story is interesting because here it says where Enki is saying he will try and prevent the perishing of my mankind, because he created them. And then you've also got where it says Genesis 40 days and 40 nights it rained. However, the actual flood story says it lasted for 7 days and 7 nights. So the Bible is a copy, but badly, of the original tablets. And you can find out more about this because I have a Patreon page where I read out these stories.
The ability to, blink in and out of space.
So Randy here was talking about Bigfoots and said that they're off-world creatures, which they are. They're not from this planet. However, the ones that stuck here are stuck here from at least 10,000 years ago. The problem I've got with his comment is when he says they can blink in and out of space, they can't. They cannot do that. And the reason why they can't do that is because when they're trying to scare people away by throwing rocks at people, shaking trees, doing tree knocks, howling and hiding behind trees, if they can blink in and out of space, yeah, they would just disappear. We wouldn't see them hiding behind trees and throwing rocks at people. So yeah, he was right up to a point, but I think he, just like some of the others, just add their own little element to things. Oh my gosh, look at this. This is a tomb of Osiris. No, it's not. A lot of people now are actually coming out, including some of the people that worked on that, saying no, they haven't actually found the tomb of Osiris. Now, if anyone knows their history, they know that Osiris was actually chopped up by Set, and his Osiris's wife, stroke half sister Isis, went and found his body parts, etc. So there would have been no time to have made a tomb, and there would be no point making a tomb thereafter, because obviously he was already chopped up in pieces, and his wife Isis ended up becoming pregnant using part of his body, you can guess which part, to impregnate herself. So I don't believe we will ever find an Osiris tomb because of the war between Set and Isis and her son Horus. Simple question for you. If you don't know the answer, I'll give you a hint at the end of the video. So, and this is regarding ancient buildings. Now, this one here is massive, and it was built by the Sumerian civilization, which would have been, in my opinion, the Anunnaki. So hopefully you'll answer at the end of this video what your thoughts are. Amazing building. Egypt, amazing building. Greek, amazing buildings. There's a point to this. Hold on. India, fantastic carvings that we can't even do today. Honestly, we can't. And Rome. But, for example, Australia doesn't have these kind of buildings. Why not? Because the Anunnaki were in the places that I've just mentioned. We've got written records of that. So, do you think it was normal people that built all these buildings in just so happens the same places where the Anunnaki were? Or do you think the Anunnaki created the builders? Keep watching my videos and I'll explain.
Pictures and the text and things that we've seen, yes. But that doesn't...
This lovely lady is talking about some of the Anunnaki being reptilian. And if you heard there in the clip, she says, based on text. Now, I've been doing this for 40 years. I've never come across any text that say the Anunnaki were reptilian. Obviously, if you look at their statues and carvings, etc., none have scowls like a reptilian. They're all, basically like us in their image. So if the person's listening, would you do me a favour? Only because I can't, I'd love to see it. Please don't show me David Icke or anything else like that. Please don't show me another researcher. You've said that it's in texts. Can you show me where it says that they're reptilian in race from the text, not from another researcher, please? As you said there, that would be great. I'd love to see that. Thank you very much. I could point this person to the 900 videos that I've done where I point to the Anunnaki using proof that they were here 450,000 years ago, or I could point them to Oxford University, etc., which also says the same thing. But I thought I'd just leave it to you guys to read this and post back to the person and let him know why the world is older than 6,000 years, unless you believe it's 6,000 years. By the way, there's a tree called the Melucifer, which is at least 5,000 years old. And underneath that are trees that have decomposed, which would have took thousands of years to do. So there's your 6,000 years gone already. But anyway, please feel free to post and let this person know why the world is older than 6,000 years and how he hasn't actually read the original text properly, because obviously if he did, he'd be agreeing with me. But yeah, so knock yourself out, everyone.
Is this a doorway cut into rock on Mars? Well, if you watch my previous videos, you'll see that I actually talk about the face on Mars, and that the face was actually cut out by the Anunnaki for the King Alalula that was ended up dying there and being buried inside that face on Mars, which I think there was a movie called Mission to Mars that sort of alluded to that. But if you're also interested to know when creatures died out on Mars, and I believe they did, using ancient texts, and I say ancient texts that where the Anunnaki were actually on Mars and describe Mars. If you're interested in that, I have it on my Patreon page. There's over 70 odd videos already. This one's 22 minutes long, and it's called Alien Life on Mars. So if you're interested, go to my Patreon page, have a watch of that. Thanks. My thoughts on how the universe got started after 40 years of researching ancient texts, ancient cultures, even more modern researchers such as Linda Moulton Howe, where she's spoken to top generals who have alluded to how our universe got started, even little greys, how they describe our universe and the source or creation instead of God. So over the next two videos, this one and the next, I will explain it. So just first we have to rule out the Bible, because there are ancient texts that talk about Enki, Enlil, etc., which were brothers. So straight away that rules out one God. And they're the ones that's named in the actual tablets that the Bible copied from. Unfortunately, Enlil and Enki were called Lord and Yahweh and all these kind of different names throughout different times, and of course the Bible's copied. So watch the next video and I'll explain how the universe started.